What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to T3G. My name is Dalibor. This is Tech Monday. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We've done a few reviews now in 2019, and I wanted to get into something we haven't done in a while. We're going to be building a computer. Well, some of a computer. Just stick around. Now, if you're familiar with the channel, if you've been around for a while, I built my server / my rendering computer several years ago at this point. We put it in the Tesseract Deep Cool case, which has served me very well over the years. It's actually on the floor right here. And we used a MSI 970 FX 8350. Yeah, 8350. You know, basically the same setup I have on the main system, except for the graphics card. The graphics card was my original graphics card in my second built system, which was the 5770, I think, 5570. It's an old graphics card, but it's been serving well so far. However, recently, more specifically when I was editing the vlog from the Colorado trip, I had some drone footage that I wanted to use, and because the drone does record in 4K, it was having some issues with that. It was having some serious issues. So I said, I'm gonna be like every other responsible filmmaker. I will make proxies, and no big deal, right? I'll make proxies, I'll edit those, and then when I render, I'll put in the right footage. Except it wouldn't make proxies for some reason. It kept having errors, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I said, forget it. I switched over to the main system, which has the R9 390X. That's the one, I think that's right. R9 390X. AMD graphics card, all that stuff. So yeah, it's got the better graphics card. It's same processor, same amount of RAM. So that wasn't gonna affect it, but definitely the better graphics made a world of difference. I was able to edit, I was able to render, no problem. But even before that, we actually had to switch boards. The MSI 970, the 970 gaming ended up failing me. Some sort of condensation issue forced us to have to switch boards. And while I was switching boards, I said, forget it, let's switch cases, because I wanted some more airflow, I wanted some more space, so I went with the half case that we've had here for a long, long time, and I actually got footage of some of that.
Reporting live from the discovery of the century. Live. This is our live presentation here.
Live that's not live?
It's the middle of the night. My wife is sleeping, so I'm trying not to be loud. But here's what we've discovered. The board's bad. Something happened. One of the capacitors or something. Let's see if we can get in close to the action.
I can tell you the moisture starts from right here. Okay, you can see it on this bracket.
Hold on. We got it. Come back.
So you can definitely see.
So you can see the difference in the color there.
Yeah, but then like right here is way more evident.
Yes, sir.
So like.
So you can see that this is normal. So this is normal board right here.
Yeah. So that's dry.
Oh, I'm trying to get the focus here. Dry. Definitely not dry.
Not dry. This is like, you can see me, literally when I move my finger, you can see condensation.
Yeah, so something has failed. Something has failed. Whoa, we're super zoomed in. We're just real friendly right now. So something has failed on the board, which brings us to a good point in this situation, because now we at least know what the problem is.
Right. We know it's not CPU,
right.
RAM, card, none of that.
All facts.
Which is better.
I have another AM3 board, although it's not a gaming board. I don't know if it's going to support 32 gigs. There's a lot of unknowns, but we're going to try to switch it out and see what happens.
All right, so now it's a little bit morning. We got some action upstairs, so I can be a little more natural. We have an update installing. Guess what that means? It was the board. It was in fact the board. We put in a gigabyte board that we had from that white system that I kept going back to. If you guys watched the vlog at all, I messed with that system for a long time. We ended up putting a 970 gaming in it, ironically enough, and I happen to have this one here. I'm not getting all 32 gigs in Windows, but everything else seems to be working. Hopefully the update resolves that. It's quick, it's responsive. Yeah, I am happy with what we've got so far. Getting everything updated, making sure everything's set correctly, and then we'll run a gamut of testing, make sure everything is 100%. But I think we're almost there. The only like downfall of using this board, we don't have an IO plate. So, you know, this is kind of the, if you guys don't have an IO shield, you end up, you get some see-through action there. And then when that was all done, it worked fine. It worked perfectly well, except for when it came time to do that 4K video, then I had to switch computers and all that stuff, like I said. And that really just is kind of a pain. I wouldn't have to do that if I had better specs. So I said, you know what? I think maybe it's time to see what we can do and get this bad boy upgraded. I think it's time we join the modern age. We bring our processing power to the present day, and I think we gotta go Ryzen at this point, because to get an equivalent process out of Intel, it's just gonna be incredibly expensive. So I said, forget it, we're gonna go Ryzen, and put together a list. I put together a list on Newegg, and I came up with a 480, not counting getting an Elgato, because that was the other thing I wanted to do, is use that as the streaming source while I game on the other computer. However, the problem with that is that requires cache. And on top of that, I was kind of bottom leveling it, right? I was like entry level everything. I think I was doing the 1700X. Well, I mean, that's not quite entry level, but it was definitely the older of the Ryzens. I was getting the cheapest, the absolute cheapest X series board that I could find, which was like 75 bucks. Like, I really went bare bottom just so I can get kind of like the foot into the Ryzen space. Because again, all this does is render, and it will do streaming for me. It doesn't do anything else. I don't use it very regularly. It's just on for when I need to render and when I need to edit videos, and that's it. It's literally a Adobe machine for the most part, and I would just be introducing the new aspect of the streaming. Be that as it may, that's still $450 that I would have to come up with cash. I thought about it some, and I said, it's gonna take me a while. I mean, not like a ridiculous amount of time, but every time I went to render and every time I went to edit, I have these situations where I see a pause in the footage. Then I have to close out Premiere, and there's just steps. There's little steps that slow down my process, and we're really working to get more video business this year for our company, and I don't want to be slowed down. I want to turn around footage as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible for our clients. To that end, I said, what can I do to make this happen now? Now, I want to stress this by saying I do not recommend this course of action if you are not capable of covering what needs to be done here. What I decided is that I have a completely empty, like no balance on it, Best Buy credit card. And I'm aware that that is a premium on the price, and B, it's debt, right? Now it's debt in the form of 12 months no interest, so that's a benefit. And if I can execute that, and I'm confident that I can, and that was the only reason I was able to do this, I said, this is worth it. This is worth it. Yes, it would be an additional monthly bill. However, I would have the stuff now. I would be able to build and upgrade now as opposed to 6 months from now. I had only a $1,000 credit limit, and I wanted to keep it under that. I didn't need a case. I didn't need a power supply. I didn't need hard drives. I didn't need fans, any of that stuff. I have most of the system, just the guts need to change. So processor, board, RAM. I did decide in the long run that having the better graphics is gonna work better, and the Elgato, because I do want to upgrade the streaming capabilities as well. So then this is what I came up with. Ryzen 2700X, I want to get the octa-core, I want to get the most performance I can out of it. I figured since I'm going Ryzen, and this was kind of a last minute decision, I was going to go 32 gigs because that's what I have on the system now, but I said I'm going Ryzen and I'm getting a better graphics card, so I'm gonna stick to 16 gigs. If that needs to be changed, I will upgrade and I will add more RAM, but that's kind of an easy fix. Went with the MSI X470 board so we can get everything put on there, have plenty of slots for everything and expandability. And then we went with the 580 XXX edition or whatever Radeon card so we can get kind of the most out of the graphics that we can. Now I'm still at the kind of mid-entry level specs, but that's definitely gonna do the job that I needed to do. The next build we do is gonna be the big boy, it's gonna replace the Stealth, and at that point we'll probably put a new case in it. It'll be a whole new big to-do. Probably gonna budget about $2,000 for that one, and we're talking probably end of 2019, 2020, barring of course any sponsorship deals. If any component manufacturer wanna holler, let me know. We're happy to work with you guys. So those three components, along with the Elgato 60 Pro, that puts us at about literally just under $1,000 when I also added the $20 warranty on the Elgato just in case. 20 bucks added on, literally 6 cents shy of the max, and we were able to get that done. So today we got the parts ordered. I have the RAM in-house, because that was the only thing in stock. We went with the 3000 megahertz Corsair Vengeance. Now I know 3200 is kind of the magic number for Ryzen, so we'll see how well this does. I may need to return those and swap them out for different ones, but the price difference was about $100, and I just didn't feel like $100 for 200 megahertz was really economical. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it responds and how it acts. I feel like the 3000 should do the trick, but if we have any issues, of course, we'll have to change that. Now, I should have that within a couple days, so we will definitely be updating you guys very, very soon on that. And then once we have that, I will be taking the guts of this one along with some of the other components that I have and building out my wife's computer, which, if you guys remember, I did spec out a Ryzen for her, but realistically, she is never going to use it and never going to need that much power. And any of the video editing she's gonna do, the system that I'm using now is gonna be plenty for her. So she'll be all right. She's not gonna be hurting for processing power. She's gonna have 32 gigs of RAM. She's gonna be all right. I'm confident in that. So that's it for this one. Just wanted to share a little bit of the plans about what's gonna happen. This is, let's call this part 0 of the server upgrade. Let's see what we can do. For funsies, here are the specs for the current system, and here are the numbers from a couple benchmarks. And we're gonna compare those in the next video when we talk about the build and what the performance bump is with the new components. Of course, it's gonna be huge. I'm not in any way confused that there's gonna be some sort of fractional upgrade. We're bumping up 10 years of processing technology. We're bumping up a whole new technology in RAM. I'm beyond stoked for the change, but I just want to see what the difference is going to be. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that like button, join the notification squad if you do want to be notified when the next video is up, so you guys can see what the difference in those numbers is and what kind of benefit we get out of that new system. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.